To our viewers and listeners out there in radio and in the internet world, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Monday, the 9th day of September. We're locked and loaded for another presentation of Voices. My name is Socrates, and we have a continuing conversation coming up shortly. But here's what we do first. We're going to give credit to our sponsors, and then we come back and get into today's presentation, okay? Thank you.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
Hey kids, drink healthy!
Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink from more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking, football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Good morning, and once again, welcome back to the program. It's called Voices, and it's found only on Win FM 98.9. As we say good morning to Mr. Chris Collins up there in the UK, Miss Rosemary Donald over there in New York, Jennifer over there in Georgia, of course, that's Atlanta, Sister Henry, the whole crew that's normally logged on to Voices. Welcome to another presentation as we continue our conversation from last Friday. We have with us again this morning in the studio Dr. Biafo, and we were discussing somewhat of geopolitical global issues. A very versed gentleman, and he did share with us lots of perspective on global matters, even as it relates to us here in the Federation. He's here with us once again. It was a very short period of time to share so much information, so he's invited back because of what he has to offer. So once again, Doc, the mic is yours. Welcome back to 1FM. Can you introduce yourself to the audience, and we take it from there?
So thank you for inviting me again.
Yes.
I
want to get a bit closer to the mic so we can hear you more, right?
I'm Professor Dr. Peter Baofu, and I am an American visionary, and I have been written more than 180 books in all fields of knowledge, and I have proposed more than 150 different visions and new theories of the human future in relation to the mind, nature, society, and culture. And I have been in more than 151 different countries around the world as part of my global tour for a on-the-ground research of humanity in order to provide some solution to global problems in a more realistic way.
Okay. When we can you recall where we left off on last Friday? Can you pick up from there?
Sure, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Last time we were talking about the differences between different cultures, especially between the U.S. and China that you mentioned.
The Western world, yeah.
And also you talk about the historical legacy of St. Kitts, the colonial one, and how to get out of it. That is the two things that we spoke about last time.
Yeah, can you share more of your perspective on that?
Last time you were asking me about the colonial legacy and how to get rid of that. And I told you that there are many different ways to decolonize. Just because you become independent politically, it doesn't mean that you have been liberated. In fact, in many ways, you have not been. A good example is the one that you mentioned to me, that King III, Charles III is still your king, so to speak. And even though that is symbolic, but I think that to accept someone or some entity which used to be your colonial master as your king still, it is not. It shows very clearly that you have not yet get out of their mindset. In fact, I mentioned the notion of inferiority complex. Inferiority complex is a major problem for a lot of colonized people who have not been get out of that identity. So for you to continue behaving like that, that is a very, very serious impediment to your goal. Another thing you mentioned to me is about the money that you use easy, and you still have the pictures of the British crown on that. That is another legacy. It's not just damaging your identity, it's also damaging your economy, because to be dependent on other people for a foreign currency which is not yours imposes a lot of monetary requirements and payments and costs which are more detrimental. That's why Western Africa and Central Africa have been trying to get rid of the French francs, for example, because this has been so much exploited in the last few decades, and now they are waking up. I'm very surprised that it takes such a long time for them to wake up to all of this. It seems to me to be common sense as a scholar, but for them, it takes such a long time because of the power asymmetry between the colonial masters and the colonized people.
One of the things that we note with those 4 African countries that you refer to, they would have the military backing of one of the superpowers. You also indicated that for countries or people who've tried to rid themselves of this particular yoke is a very difficult thing because of the system that's in place, which the global authorities would not allow. So we about, say, 60,000 people here in St. Kitts and Nevis. How can we get away? It's not the mindset.
Yes.
Because it has been mentioned that we need to become like Barbados. How do we do that?
Yeah, last time I also spoke about Barbados, but I want to mention something else to inspire you in a way. In international politics, as I always said, it's always a question about power. You can have as many ideals and faiths and hopes as much as you like. You can even try to implement them as much as you like, but at the end of the day, if you don't have sufficient power, you will fail because you are not realistic now. And this is one of the major reasons that if you look into human history, especially in the 20th century, under Gandhi, for example, Gandhi came up with a solution to fight for people who have no power. I mean, I'm talking about military power. Look, if India were to fight the UK military, it could lose at that time. But Gandhi was smarter. Gandhi said, we could not win like this. We had to fight with non-violence, insubordination, protest. So one of the ways that Gandhi did is that they boy squad, they engage in a lot of insubordination. So in order to show that you can kill us as much as you like, at the end of the day, the answer is no, we don't accept your domination. We don't accept your exploitation. So one of the things that St. Kitts and many other colonized people like that can do is to learn something from Gandhi, for example. Gandhi is not the only one. There are many other people who have been doing something like that too. You are weak. You don't have the power, as you just said. So one way to do it is to use the other power, the soft power, is also a form of power too. But the question is that many of you will be killed. But are you ready? Are you afraid to die? That's what I'm trying to say. Look, India under Gandhi, a lot of Indians were killed by the British. But Gandhi said, look, you can kill us as many as you like. You can imprison us as many as you like. In the end, the message is very clear. We will not stand it. We will not accept it.
How long did that struggle take?
It takes a few decades, by the way. So I think that Africa is the same thing too. Africa is waking up, by the way, but Africa has been doing this in more than 100 years now. Look at Haiti, your neighbor.
I was going to pivot to that because
it's more than 200 years now. Haiti is still under a mess because it's still a lot under American domination and also Western influence. It's not easy for you to become independent. That's the whole point. But I'm trying to say that you must have a strategy. You must do that consistently.
Let's talk a bit more about Haiti. You spoke about India not having the military power to
At the
contend at the time. We don't have that, even throughout the region. Economically, we're controlled by the World Bank, IMF, etc., which is actually controlled by those superpowers. So they can freeze us out economically. We're not the match militarily. Let's go to Haiti. Haiti, during the height of slavery, that global oppression of black people, was able to defeat the European armies. They slaughtered 50,000 Americans. They kicked out the British. They humiliated the French and was able to establish themselves as the first black independent nation in the region. What was the result of that? The economic and military force and might of the US and France by crippling the economy and making an example of Haiti to this day. Every last leader in Haiti, if you were to do research, has been selected and appointed by the Americans. So you have that control. Haiti is used as an example for other islands who may want to take that route.
Well,
So if you look at that from that perspective, what options do we have?
it's not just a question of Haiti. Look at Cuba.
Cuba, of course.
Look at Venezuela, for example. So the point that I have is that each country, the condition is unique, it's different. There's no one size fits all solution. So
It's the same foreign policy of the US.
yes, but the point that I'm trying to make is that there's still certain guidance, certain fundamental principles. How to apply the principle, how to implement the principle is unique under each situation, but the principle is still the same. Decolonization is a principle, for example, and once you accept that there are different strategies for you to take, which one you should adopt, it depends on the situation. Cuba has its own condition, Haiti has its own condition, St. Kitts has its own too. But for me, it's not as important. The more important point is that do you accept the overall principle of decolonization? Do you accept it as the goal for you to pursue? Africa nowadays, more and more countries are accepting Pan-Africanism as a goal. Now, how much do you want to pay at the price? As I told you before, well, no matter what you do, you need to pay a price for it. Are you ready for the price to pay?
It has to be a defined strategy.
Exactly.
Until we do that, we're going away fast.
Yes, but you also need to know how much you want to pay for the price. If I want to buy a new shirt or a new car or a new house, I ask myself, what's my budget? I mean, you must ask your question. Otherwise, you say, I want this house, but I have no money to pay. What's the point of talking about buying this house? The same thing about you want independence, you want decolonization, fine. What's the price you are willing to pay? Are you willing that a certain portion of your population will be shot, will be killed, will be executed, will be massacred because they will come in and stop you? Are you willing for it? If you say, no, we are afraid to die, okay, fine, then don't do it. There's a cost. Look, in any asymmetric warfare in human history, the weak always die the most. Look at the war right now between Gaza and Israel. The Palestinians get killed more than 100 times more than whatever the Israelis have been killed. Are you willing for it? But for the Hamas, for the Palestinians, that is not the point. The point is there is a war of attrition. That's how the weak fight. The weak do not have submarines, do not have fighter jets, do not have strategic bombers, do not have nuclear bombs. They fight with their fists. They fight with the storms. They fight with their cruise missiles. They did not hit anything, but the point is they stand up. Sooner or later, now Israel is under genocide accusation. Soft power, they are winning. You lose in the end. That's how they fight in the longer term. And Israel now is in big trouble.
That's because the Palestinians have identified their cause. There is a unified cause amongst the Palestinians. We in the region, Barbados, St. Kitts, Jamaica, etc., we have yet to identify a common enemy?
I disagree a bit because I have been in so many countries. I have been in so many Caribbean islands. I spoke to so many people, both the opposition and government people. So I have some rough idea of what the people want. And I think that many of them are quite sympathetic to the idea of decolonization. I don't think there are a lot of disagreement about that. I think the disagreement is more about the tactics, how exactly you are going to do it. And also the disagreement is facing whom. There's also a question too. But the goal to have a liberator identity, I don't think many people could disagree with it. There are some, by the way, but I think that they are just the minority.
I think it comes down to a commonality of purpose. They may say to you, this is what we want. This is what we want. But if you don't have that commonality and the oneness of purpose, you don't have a chance. Because the divide and rule strategy, and then economically, because they control the economy, it can shut down your economy.
Yeah, but that is not what I mean. What I mean is that it's the same thing in Africa. Many sub-Saharan Africa, I keep talking about sub-Saharan Africa because North Africa is very different. They are Mediterranean people, they are Arabic people, they are not blacks. And the historical legacy is very different. But if you talk about sub-Saharan Africa, that's much more appropriate, is that they face the same situation that you are facing. That's why Pan-Africanism in Africa is much more popular over there. And more people are adopting it, even though they disagree about how to implement that. They disagree. Look, they have the coup. Let's say in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, and Guinea-Bissau, and okay. But some of those coup leaders,
54 countries.
Yes, but some of those coup leaders, they disagree. What's the name of that guy? Can you say in Guinea and Guinea-Bissau? He was a member of the French Legionnaire, but he was a coup leader now. But he was rejected by the other 3 coup leaders because as a member of the former French Legionnaire, he pledged his life and allegiance to France.
France, yes.
So even though now he carried the coup, but the coup was supported by France because they know that this guy was working for France.
Correct.
So he was rejected by the other 3 coup leaders. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger reject him, even though they are supposed to be together, right? They are coup leaders in the 4 countries. But they say, no, you are still working for the colonial masters.
They were correct.
You see that? So there are some disagreement, but on the other hand, I think that, I don't think that he's a traitor to his own people, except that he has a different vision.
He was a traitor.
Well, in certain way.
He was a traitor. He was representing France's interest over the interest of the people. Plain and simple.
Well, but he also has certain, I mean, I'm not a guy who is so black or white. I mean, my thinking is very, I always look into both sides of the argument, and both the opposition and the government. I do research on him, and I know that in quite a number of ways, he is also very nationalistic. He really cares about the people, except that he disagreed a little bit with the other people. He has own vision of how to make his people, the country, better, except that he may disagree with someone else who is much more radical. In other way of speaking, he's not so radical as you might think. Some people want him to be much more leftist, but in some way he's much more on the right. So I don't take side, but the point that I'm trying to make is that in the case of St. Kitts and Barbados and all that, I do think that the colonization is a major goal, except that how are you going to do that? Do you have a unity? But I think that if you wait until there is unity, you will have to wait until the end of history.
It's not going to happen.
So that is not going to be very realistic. You must start now. Yes, there are some disagreement. Not everyone is going to jump in. Fine. Unite with whatever you have, and then as you grow, more and more people will jump in. That's how a movement starts. Every movement always starts with a small number of people. Okay. As they grow, then more and more people will join. So forget about those people who disagree with you. It doesn't matter. Join now with those who agree with you and start from there. This step 1. Think about step 10 later, not now.
Rascal Lonje, give me a call, please. I want to hear your views on the Pan-Africanism. Sister Henry, we have the gentleman, he spoke about Pan-Africanism being more popular in Africa. Ross, give me a call. Engage the gentleman. The line's open, right? 6620989. Get you in on the conversation. You have some very valid points. As you said that you would have spoken to other leaders or governments in the region, and they have the same need to decolonize. I think that's lip service to a growing concern from the people. The political will, knowing what's out there on the, say, diplomatic battlefield is very difficult to achieve. Okay, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're live on Voices. Welcome to the program. Okay, sorry we missed your call. Given a chance, please give us a call back. Thank you.
I want to add something. There's something new. I want to propose, just as in Africa you have Pan-Africanism, I think that it's time for the Caribbean to have Pan-Caribbeanism.
Interesting.
I think that it's
Okay, let's see.
time
We
to
have a
have
call
this
now.
new idea.
Excuse me. Good caller. You're live on Voices.
Hi, good morning, the King.
Good morning, Africa. How are you doing? Welcome to the program.
And yes, welcome to the program. Do you have a guest there this morning?
Yes, we have the Dr. Biafo, who was here last weekend. You say you got a bit of it?
Yeah, I got a bit of it the last time. I wish to say welcome to the doctor. I like where the discussion was going last week. What is the plans for?
It's a continuation of the same discussion.
Oh, yeah. Something that caught me that the doctor said last week is that with the American election where former President Trump, everyone will have their manifesto, everyone will have their slogan, everyone will have their catchphrase, so to speak. And even down here, the catchphrase caught on to some extent, where you would have heard someone. I know a guy, he would have had his monkey on the porch, and he would have called one of them Trump. And he say, well, Trump, being hilarious with some of the American guests, would say, well, Trump say he wants to make America great again. And the catchphrase, great again, is to say, well, America was once great, but America is not great at the moment, and you want to put America back on the pedestal, on the zenith, so to speak, of the height of where America once was, and has found itself to be on a lower status. Is that that was your take, sir? Mike, that's the question to you.
The question is, he was trying to explain the mindset of Americans today, realizing that there are other, he made the example of China, now emerging as a superpower, more technologically advanced than China. And so they want to make America great again, well, to compete with China at that level. That was the thinking behind that phrase. Am I correct?
Let me add a bit more. Also to answer to your previous question to me, I think that another opportunity for the Caribbeans is that the international order has changed. It's no longer 1945. We are now in 2024. The situation that we are in 24, as I have already predicted in my book I told you last time, Beyond the World of Titans and the Remaking of World Order, in which I predicted that India and China will emerge as the dominant superpowers on Earth, not the US, not the EU. They will be in number 3 and number 4 later on. So in that new world order, the power shift is such that the US and the EU and the Western Alliance no longer have the power to control the world. We have been entering the multipolar one, except that the Western Alliance is still trying to keep the unipolar one. But the world is changing. Now, that is a lot of opportunities. That's why you go to Oceania, the Caribbean, everyone now in Latin America, in Africa, and Asia, everyone now is looking for alternative. China, India, and all that. So the Caribbeans, you ask me, how can you fight? I say, in many ways, you can switch your
Allegiance?
Not allegiance, but you can make your foreign policy much more multipolar. I give you the example of Solomon Islands last time. Solomon Islands is switching to the multipolar alliance.
Excuse me. You were saying?
I follow that geopolitics. I follow that aspect of the geopolitics. But except to say that any linkages with the Caribbean, because the Caribbean has already been known as the sixth, may I reiterate, the Caribbean has been known as the sixth regions of the African space. And with that said, there are economic efforts in terms of there is what you call the Afro-Mexican Bank. There's a bank in Africa that the Caribbean leaders can get funding from that bank to establish, because there are so many things that have us so separated. Even airlift to go to the African continent. So even though China for now is punching above, it's head to head, toe to toe with, like say, the EU and the United States and Russia. The African space needs not to go into anything else except for the African space. Africa for too long has been not holding its own. Every other regions, every other space needs to hold their own. And the same must be said for the African space, where we can be reliant because it's a multipolar world. But we, the Africans, have to define ourselves for ourselves. Within the African space, we have to see ourselves rising.
This is very clear. This is very clear. This is not just your personal wish. Many other countries also wish the same thing. The issue is for Africa as much as for the Caribbeans. When you are small, when you are tiny, of course you want to have national sovereignty. Of course you have to take care of yourself. Of course you do not want to dominate by anyone. Of course, who could deny that? The problem is, how are you going to do that if you are so small and tiny? All those powers can come in and crush the hell out of you. So you need to have certain kind of geopolitical maneuver so that you can play with different powers, so that you can balance them out. Solomon Islands, in this case, is a good example. It used to be under the Western umbrella, but they realized that they have been bullied so much. Now they want to ask China to come into, not because they want to show allegiance to China. No, they are not. But they want to balance them out. If, for example, the Western Alliance try to bully them, they will ask China for help. If China try to bully them, they will ask the Western Alliance for help. You balance them out. You play a clever game. You don't side with any side, but you invite them in because you want to balance them out. Once they are outside, no one can bully you, because when someone bullies you, you ask the other one to step in. That is exactly what they call the non-alignment movement during the Second Cold War. It started in 1954 by India, by some other countries. Now they have more than 120 different countries in the United Nations. They ask for non-alignment. That means that they play with everyone, but they do not want anyone to dominate them. But they cannot ignore all those powers because they are too small, too weak to be on your own.
Okay. Australia, Africa? Hello?
Yes, I'm gonna let someone else call in, and I'm gonna listen off.
Okay, appreciate that.
And
we do have to break for station break at the moment, so we're going to do that now and see what happens after, okay? We expect some other guests.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
That's the familiar sound of the school bell ringing to let you know that class is in session. Listen up, class. Let your parents know that the place to shop for your back-to-school essentials is the TDC Home and Building Depot in St. Kitts and City Drugstore Nevis Limited. Get up to 30% off backpacks, notebooks, pens, pencils, school bundles, printers, and more. And while they're there, be sure to have them ask about the tech tools for teachers so we can help you achieve even more success. And remind them about Flash Sale Fridays, when you can receive even more savings just in time for the new school year. Now you know. See you at TDC Home and Building Depot and City Drugstore, Nevis Limited. Class is now dismissed. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Rams the good food people, always there to serve you. Rams the good food people, locations right near you. Rams the good food people, in-store specials for you. Rams the good food people. Rams. When you need better service, Rams is always here. Better value, better prices. Rams is always here. Rewarding your loyalty. Rams is always here. We are community. We are family. We are family. Rams for you and me. We are community. Rams for you and me.
11:33 on the clock, and you're logged on to WinFM 98.9, listening to a discussion. We had our first caller for the morning, engaging Dr. Biafo on the. I keep mispronouncing your name, sorry about that. On the issue of Pan-Africanism, Pan-Caribbeanism, etc. The gentleman is quite the expert, and we are here to learn what we can from his observations globally. So, Doc?
Yeah, I just proposed the idea. I could like to call that Pan-Caribbeanism. I do think that it's time for the Caribbean to stand up and unite. Now, I'm not asking you to be a united states of the Caribbeans. I don't mean that. It's far too stretched to talk something like that, the sound of Pan-Africanism. No one said that Africa should be a unified country because there are so many tribes, so many different countries. But the purpose for that is that the African situation is different from the Caribbean situation. Even though I'm quite aware that a lot of the people over here, they are of African descent. It's okay, but I'm just saying that the situation facing the Caribbean is different from the situation facing sub-Saharan Africa. So you need to have a different ideology and guiding principle. And I use this term Pan-Caribbeanism, just as you have Pan-Africanism, to say that Barbados, St. Kitts, Dominica, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Trinidad, Grenada, and so on and so forth. They more or less can get together and trying to see what they can do together to help achieve decolonization and also the common purpose of development and help each other. That could be I think a very good way to address this issue. I'm quite aware that you have some other local, regional organizations already, but think about that. Those regional and local organizations are not working.
The goals are
for
different.
you. Exactly.
The goals are different, yeah.
And many of them are dominated by outside powers. Look at the Commonwealth that I just mentioned to you. You are, how can that is going to help you? It's still under the British
Go ahead.
control.
You have a call? We lost the call. Yeah. Go to caller, your live on voices. Go to caller, your live on voices. Okay, can you give us a call back if you can, please? Sorry, we lost that call also. Okay. Yes, sir, go ahead. I was saying the goals are different for what you described to CARICOM. Caller, your live on voices.
Yes, good day, Socrates.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Yes, and greetings once more to you and your guests in Jesus' name, the only Savior of sinners from their sins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, first of all, I would like to say that As a Christian, I believe in doing things the Bible way only.
Yes,
Because
go ahead,
that
yeah.
is the only right and proper way. But let me also say this as well. You see, your guest is saying that the people need to come together and stand up and fight for themselves and that sort of stuff. Well, we are really not in any position to do that. The reason, and we don't have the mindset to do that. The reason being is that, for example, no matter what America tells us, if America said jump, we're gonna always, in the end, say how high. You see, because we are a people, we want to always know we have access to the American visa, and we don't want to lose that access to the American visa, because we want to be able to go to America for visit and that sort of stuff. So we would stoop to any level where America is concerned to be used and abused by America so that we could always have access to the American visa. Not only that, even our politicians, for example, if America ban somebody, if they, what the word use, if they throw out, what the word we don't use for that, Socrates again?
Deport?
Yeah, right, deport. If America deport somebody, if America bans somebody, England or Europe ban somebody from coming to the countries, our politicians are very glad to use that against that person for political leverage, especially if it is a politician who got banned from be it an American, Canadian, European, or from the UK, where they can go. And our politicians are very, very eager to use that against the person because we are using those countries as the standard to know whether a person is good or bad. So once America ban you, them other countries ban you, you're automatically a very bad person in our politicians' eyes. So we are not really we don't really have the mind at the moment to really have the appetite.
Do you see this as a
the
regional
mindset to
issue?
go against America?
Do you see this as a regional issue or local?
Yeah, well, it might be a regional issue, but I know it is a St. Nevis issue. And I know that for sure it's a St. Nevis issue. And so it's like, these countries are our gods, and like I said, we don't want to lose access to the country, so we would stoop and bend to any level to these countries for whatever they want of us. For example, if a government here in St. Nevis stand up to be Europe or America and they're put on a blacklist because they stand up for something that is right and principle and they're put on a blacklist, the opposition, whoever the opposition is, going to use that for political purposes to get the people to vote out the government, because how could they dare stand up against such and such? No matter if what they stood for is right.
Okay, try to wrap up, Jeff. We are having a call online.
Yeah, you're right. No matter if what they stood against is principle. Once these countries put you on a blacklist, for example, the oppositions always use it against you for political purposes.
Yeah, Jeffy, very sorry. You're repeating.
You're right.
Oh, shit. I'm going to say you're repeating the same thing over and over,
Okay,
having this call online, which I just lost. Go ahead.
No, I think that...
So thank you very much, Socrates. Thank you.
All right, please. See if you can respond. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted 2 points. What he said is not correct. Number one is that when you work together for the common good, you don't need to fight the U.S. I never said that, or the EU or China. I don't ask you to side with one side against the other side. Non-alignment, by the way, is not to fight with anyone. Non-alignment simply means that I'm nice to you, I'm also nice to the other side too. If I am nice to America, I'm also nice to China too. I want to do business with everyone. But he is saying that, we are going to fight the U.S. I never said that. I said that you should be nice to the U.S., but you should be nice to everyone else too. You do not fight with everyone because you are small. If you fight, you lose. To be clever means over here is that you do business with everyone. This exactly what the non-alignment did during the Second Cold War. They did not side with the U.S. They did not side with the Soviet Union. They do business with
Let's
everyone.
take this call. Go to caller 11 Voices.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
You and your guest. Yes. I would be interested in hearing her blueprint for achieving what she's talking about. Because, like the previous caller said, especially in this area, we're regarded as part of America's sphere of influence. You don't just get up and get out of that. Nobody in the region wants to be another Cuba or another Venezuela insofar as the sanctions and so on are concerned. So there are real difficulties in achieving the kind of non-alignment that is talked about.
Okay.
Right. What I was wondering though is if instead of looking at the geopolitics of non-alignment, so to speak, can't economic measures be used instead? Like, for instance, joining the BRIC nations in terms of making sure that there is an alternative to using the dollar.
The BRICS nation you mentioned, right?
Hello?
The BRICS nation that you refer to.
Right. Because once the dollar is the staple currency, is the standard currency used in all universal transactions, it will always remain, the rest of the world will always be...
No, that's not true anymore. This is a major problem of the people over here. This problem is not unique. It's also in Africa, in many other countries. That's why poor people, poor countries are so poor, because they are so fatalistic. Fatalism is a major problem because they have inferiority complex. They cannot think anything more than what they have been in. If you tell them about something, they feel. I mean, this kind of pessimistic fatalism is so pervasive among Africans. And there's a major problem here.
Hold on. Let him stress his point, then you can respond to it in totality. Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
The world had changed already.
Let him finish his point, please. Go ahead. Then.
With all due respect, right?
Yeah.
It's not a matter of being fatalistic. It's a matter of being realistic. Okay? That is why I asked at the outset, what is your blueprint for achieving this? Because it is not a simple thing. It's not an easy thing, right? And we are faced with the fact that the world as it exists now is unipolar, right? And unless there is
not
an
not anymore. That's exactly the whole point. We
no
are already in a multipolar world.
I'm going to ask you to let the caller finish his points, please.
I am interested in hearing her alternative. I am not. I understand what she's saying. I understand her feeling about the unipolar situation as it is, okay? But the fact is, that is the fact. Look at how Russia was just sanctioned just like that, a huge country at that, okay? Look at how the Chinese, although they're very reticent, they're very cautious, they do not want to upset the West because they know the consequences that can result. If these huge countries are going to be so cautious and be very careful not to upset the West, who are we? It's not a matter of being pessimistic. It's a matter of being real. You have to look at the environment you're in. You have to look at the clout you have, economic and otherwise, and political. Just look at the United Nations, for instance. Sure, we're a member of the United Nations, right? So there are a lot of over 100 and plus countries, right? But look at what power they have in terms of affecting global affairs. It always goes back to the big powers in the first place, the Security Council people, members, right? We cannot do anything, right? And unless we face that fact, and we're not going to be able to work around it. You have to understand the problem first, and don't be like Don Quixote and go trying to fight windmill with spears, right? So that I go back to the original question: what is your blueprint for achieving what you desire?
No, I think.
Thank you very much for that, sir. And let's see what the response is. But thank you for calling.
I think that the gentleman is not realistic. He said that he's realistic, but he's not. He's very fatalistic. If you look at the international situation, things have changed already. The fact that Russia was able to invade Ukraine already spoke a lot. The fact that China now has already surpassed the U.S. more than 10 years ago as the largest economy in the world in purchasing power parity, it speaks a lot. The fact that the largest navy in the world right now is not the U.S. anymore, is China, it speaks a lot. The fact that Trump is so afraid of Huawei speaks a lot because the U.S. is already losing international competitiveness. Even, I told you last time, the British magazine, The Economist, has published an article only the other week saying that now China is the top science superpower. That speaks a lot. You talk about 1945, 50, or 1970, or 1980. If everyone talk like that, people will laugh at you. China is just a copycat. Not anymore. That's why many of the fields that we are talking about, China is much advanced than the Western alliance. That's why things are getting so multipolar now. Look at the BRICS. You talk about the control of the monetary system. Not anymore. If you look in the last year, more than half of the international transaction now is shifting to the yuan. Things have changed a lot.
Shifting to the what, you said?
The international transaction. It used to be dominated by the American dollars. Not anymore. Things have shifted a lot already, especially since the invasion of Ukraine.
What is the predominant currency right now?
No, don't interrupt me. Let me finish. The gentleman said, you were controlled by the American dollars. Look, even China and Russia have to pay attention and listen to the West. Quite on the contrary. Because of the sanction imposed on Russia and China, what they have done since then, more and more countries now are shifting. Russia, China, India, UAE, Brazil, Argentina, many other countries now are shifting to alternative international transaction payments to avoid the sanction. That kind of dominance is collapsing. The IMF and the World Bank even said.
Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you to take this call.
Do this kind of sanction.
But the caller, your 11 voices.
The collapse is even faster.
Hey, the king.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm not doing too bad for my age.
Okay, Mr. Baum, let's hear you.
Yeah. What I hear the topic of Russia and China and thing paying.
I don't get your question.
Yes. So what basically is the thing? We can't hear you guys.
I'm sorry about that. We are having a geopolitical, global discussion, about superpowers and the changing world, different perspective, etc. I'm sorry you really can't hear because you would have benefited from this start of the program.
Well, I like that. I could give an assessment and some comments on that.
Go ahead if you can, please.
Yes. The big countries of the world, we here in the Caribbean could be one of the big partners, But here what is happening, the king, we are tugging, we are having tug-of-war. Each country in the Caribbean is having tug-of-war against the others. Each country. Now look at it. We have CARICOM. We have OECS. Why they can't form one block and trade and buy, and you could match some of these countries, because if you join together as one block, right, The things that so many countries in the Caribbean make. Look at Guyana and them. They found oil. Right there, you have a bargaining chip, you know. You see what I'm saying, the king?
I'm listening. I want folks to hear what you're saying. I could jump in by one you talk.
If we was one block, OECS and CARICOM together, Guyana have oil, diamonds, and all those things, gold, right? You have Barbados with a number of things. You have Guyana with so many things that they could trade, they could sell, right? You have St. Kitts Nevis. We could be selling products like we could be setting up ourselves. Look at the universities that we have here. That is something we can put forth, but we have to be one block and stop fighting and pulling against one another. Because look at it. You have a number of countries, say they're in OECS. You have a number of countries who in CARICOM. We are not saying anything on the world block. You see what I'm saying, the king?
Yeah, I hear you.
We're not saying anything on the world block because here is it. Some OECS don't tell you, a number of countries is not in the OECS block. Then CARICOM don't tell you, all of the countries is not in CARICOM. So you see where we're fighting against ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
No, if we would be one block, say we are the CARICOM block, just like how they just say the G8, the G20 and all those things. Yeah. We could put up ourselves as the Caribbean block, and all the countries and leaders could meet together, and everybody put forth what they can sell, what they can trade, and what they can pull investors to. We got to stop going as one nation, one country, one island, and go as a block. And if we go as a block, they have to respect us because we have a lot of resources that those big countries need, you know.
Okay, Carl. Okay, we're pushing up to news time. I want to read the article quickly, but thank you for your contribution. Right? Okay. Let me just read something that somebody sent me, okay? And it reads, can China, one, really overtake the dollar to become the dominant currency? Continues, non-U.S. politics. Okay, would love to have this conversation and see what everyone thinks, as it has been on my mind lately in recent years. Especially in 2023, there has been an increasing speculation about the potential of the Chinese yuan to replace the US dollar as the world dominant reserve currency. While Chinese economic rise is undeniable, the idea that the yuan could soon replace the US dollar for several reasons is more complex than it appears. That's somebody sent me that, so I just read it.
Okay, no. Let me explain. I was reacting to the gentleman, not this one, the previous one, saying that the world is still dominated by the US dollars. I say no. There are several reasons for that. Look, he mentioned about, even Russia and China now is afraid of Western sanctions. They have to pay attention. You see that how powerful the unipolar movement is. We are still in the unipolar movement. I say not at all. That's exactly what I mean. If you look, let's say, after the sanction, what happened? After the sanction, there are a countervailing movement going up. The dollarization is on the rise. Now, what did they do? They have done a lot of things. BRICS is also another example to accelerate the process of de-dollarization. In the last year alone, before the sanction, for example, Russia trade with a lot of people. The majority of the transaction was in American dollars and also in euro too. Now look at that balance sheet. Almost all of those transactions have been in foreign currency, especially in Chinese yuan. It's not just between China and Russia. India, by the way, now is also trading with Russia in what? In American dollars? No, in rupees and in rubles. UAE and India are doing the same thing. UAE and China also doing the same thing. More and more international regimes understand that we need to get out of the American domination. So BRICS is proposing some other things. So what is happening now is not because yuan is going to replacing dollar. No, it's a lot of combination now are replacing the international dominance of dollars. That's called I wrote an article about. I predicted this more than a few years ago. At that time, no one paid attention to me. You can read this article, the dollarization and deglobalization. What I proposed at that time is that the process is emerging that now more and more countries are switching away from the SWIFT, which is a Western international transaction system, switching away from the euros and the dollars. So what do they do now? They use a combination of a lot of things, not about yuans. Combination of American dollars, euros, Japanese yen, Chinese yuan, Indian rupees, Russian rubles, gold, for example, local currency swaps, commodity trade, barter, a lot of different combinations. We are moving toward that direction. And BRICS, by the way, just proposed another new thing. They are proposing a new currency by the BRIC member, and more than 40-something countries now are applying to join BRICS. Why? Because the global south are getting very tired of their domination. We have been moving toward that direction because they get tired of the unipolar moment. We are moving away from that already. I spoke about this more than a few years ago. I predicted that. No one listened to me. But now more and more people talk about de-dollarization, deglobalization, exactly as I predicted. We are moving further away from that. And secondly, one of the misunderstandings of many of the callers over here, they keep thinking that, we cannot confront the U.S. I never said that you had to confront the U.S. or the EU. Black or white again. Either you are with the U.S. or you are against the U.S. I say no. Stop thinking like that. It's not either or. You are nice to them, but you are also nice to everyone else. That's non-alignment is not either or. Non-alignment means I'm with you, I don't want to do business with you, but I also want to do business with other people too. But I'm not against you. I'm not going to come in and kick you out. I want you to come in. You Americans, come in, please. But I also want the Chinese or the German or the Japanese or the Vietnamese or Indian to come in too. You are nice to everyone, but you are not going to sit here and fight with everyone. That's non-alignment is. Non-alignment doesn't mean that I'm going to fight you. No. Non-alignment say, okay, fine, I do business with you, America, but I also want to do business with China too. I also want to do business with India too. But I'm not going to say I fight you. I don't fight you at all. I like you. Come in, please. More investment. But I also want to do business with China or India or Brazil too, and Russia too. France, Italy, come in, please. Welcome. But this caller thing, we are going to fight America. I'm not saying, I never said that you should fight. Okay, you should do what you are doing, but you become non-alignment in the sense that you broaden your horizon, you play with them so that you can get the maximum benefit from everyone, not just from the local people. Why? Because you get sucked in like this, as we have been in the last few decades, and you do not grow too much. You need to get out of that box so that you can grow even more, not less. Okay. That's the whole point.
Okay. I would contend that many of us in the region has been aware of the shift in trading in dominant currencies, but we actually at the point where we must pause for the Win FM's midday newscast. I want to thank all the callers who were part of this morning discussion, and I hope we can continue debate after the newscast, but we'll see if that happens. We're pausing now for the Win FM's midday newscast.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Bastia in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
With the Win FM headline news, I am Yulana Weeks. Featuring locally, Taurus Riley and Mr. Killer are headliners for the National Heroes Day Freedom Concert in Nevis. Caitlin Wilson, Miss Teen St. Kitts and Nevis to vie for the Haynes Smith Talented Teen Crown. Delegates from across the OECS will gather in St. Kitts to discuss social protection matters, education and health. The details and more straight ahead. The Nevis Island Administration will be hosting a freedom concert in commemoration of National Heroes Day, September 16, and the St. Kitts and Nevis Independence Day, September 19. The event will be held on Saturday, September 14, 2024, from 8 p.m. at the Cultural Village. The headliners for the freedom concert are Taurus Riley and Mr. Killer. Local acts will also be featured on the lineup, including Big Six, Rocco Dan, Ras Brown, Empress, Joyel Phillip, Itebulus, Easy, SG Presidential Sound, Reloaded Sound, Garlic and the Upper Level Band, Regal Band, and New Vibes Band. The event is free, but patrons were encouraged to display good behavior. Meanwhile, the Nevis Island Administration also began preparations for the ceremonial parade and awards ceremony for the 41st anniversary of the independence of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. The parade will be held at the El Camido T. Willett Park on Thursday, September 19, 2024 at 8 a.m. The armed forces and other participating groups are expected to meet for practice sessions on Tuesday, September 10, Thursday, September 12, and Tuesday, September 17, 2024. Caitlin Wilson, Miss Teen St. Kitts and Nevis, will represent the Federation at the Haynes Smith Talented Teen Pageant on December 30, 2024 in the British Virgin Islands. The pageant will be held outside of St. Kitts for the first time after 41 consecutive years. The pageant, as of this year, will be hosted in different territories to ensure greater transparency and accountability in the judging process. Caitlin Wilson captured the crown as the Republic Bank Miss Talented Teen St. Kitts and Nevis in December 2023, thus becoming eligible to participate in the Haynes Smith Talented Teen pageant. As such, Wilson will seek to create history as the first person to receive a crown under the new arrangement. The 2023-2024 Miss Haynes Smith Queen is Takila Hart Johnson from St. Kitts. The Minister of Social Development and Gender Affairs in St. Kitts and Nevis, Senator Iselene Phillip, will host colleagues from across the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, for the 9th meeting of the Council of Human and Social Development. The event will be held at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort on September 10. Minister Phillip and Permanent Secretary Azila Clark will lead the delegation on the following topics: social protection systems and strategies, the OECS Regional Child Policy, and investing in shock responsive and resilient social protection systems in the Eastern Caribbean. In addition, the delegation is expected to review the Social Inclusion Protection Strategic Action Plan 2023 to 2030. It is a strategic action plan that addresses social protection gaps and outlines key ideas to ensure a better quality of life for the people of the OECS. Moreover, the Social Inclusion Protection Strategic Action Plan 2023 to 2030 emphasizes the protection of human rights, equality for all, non-discrimination, solidarity, and other things. According to a press release by the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs, at the forum, quote, participants will aim to share ideas and accomplishments on social empowerment and secure the support of regional agencies towards improving social protection measures within the region, unquote. The Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs further advised the public of the inaugural joint meeting of the Ministers of Health, Education and Social Services on September 11, 2024. Jeffrey Hanley, Minister of Education, is also expected to host delegates for the 9th meeting of the Council of Education Ministers.
Regionally, although he is presently in the courts of TNT following sedition charges, Canadian YouTuber Christopher Hughes, or Christmas List, has continued to post a mix of content relating to this country, from former gang leaders who are hoping to turn young people away from crime to seeing the wealth some gangs have amassed. One such video is where Six Dan, or Tyson of the Sixth Gang, claims to show off $2 million in gold, and Hughes verifying the authenticity through a gold tester. Well, around 9 a.m. on Thursday, Hughes was met by police. One of his attorneys, Vishesh Sipasad, tells us officers executed a search warrant at his home.
They seized a number of electronic devices, such as his cell phone, laptop, camera, which we all know he utilizes to record, produce, and publish his videos on YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms. At around 12 p.m., he was interviewed, and the interview continued throughout the day.
He says his client has been complying with police. As for the reason for the search warrant,
it's in relation to the last video, and the information provided to me by the TTPS at this point in time is that they are of the opinion that he possesses information in that video that is in relation to money laundering.
Sipasad is criticizing the actions of the TTPS, calling them undemocratic.
This is nothing but a clear abuse of power, and these high-handed and unjustifiable actions of the TTPS is a clear attempt to stop my client from recording and publishing content.
The YouTuber was released at around 11 p.m. on Thursday and uploaded this statement telling his followers the proposed charges are bogus.
I film what I see and I document reality. If you don't like reality, you're not going to like my content. But what makes me controversial, other than the charges that I continually get thrown my way here in Trinidad and Tobago? Okay, there's somebody higher up that's out to get me, because when you see my content, it has nothing to do with money laundering.
Alicia Boucher, TV6 News.
Questions are being asked about the responsiveness of local authorities to health emergencies at the nation's port of entries, in particular airports.
The concerns come after an elderly man died this week after collapsing at the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay, St. James.
As you'll hear in this report, his loved ones feel his life may have been saved if the authorities acted quickly.
71-year-old Leroy Smith visited Jamaica to bury his brother. On Wednesday, it was time to return home. His nephew carried him to the Sangster International Airport, but in a shocking turn of events, Mr. Smith collapsed near the check-in area. A representative from the airport then contacted his niece. She was told,
Mr. Smith had an accident and we need our family to come back to the airport. I asked what's happening. The person said she was unable to give me much information over the phone at the time and that Mr. Smith had an accident. All she can say is that he had an accident and he's on the floor.
She hung up and alerted the nephew, who transported Mr. Smith to the airport. When she called back the representative, she heard,
he's still on the floor and he's unconscious and they're going to perform CPR. All right, so I said, don't you have an ambulance to rush him to the hospital? She said, the ambulance is on the way.
Distressed, she made repeated calls for some 20 to 35 minutes. Still,
all I'm hearing is they're doing CPR and ambulance is on the way. And to the point where I'm like, are you telling me that there is nothing else that can be done? He's just on the floor like that?
Approaching 40 minutes, she called again, eager for an update. The update left her perplexed.
She said, I cannot disclose anything. We were doing CPR. They were doing CPR on him, and now they cover him up. Mr. Miss, what do you mean them cover him up? What that mean? Did he die?
Sadly, he did. MBJ Airports Limited released a statement 2 days later saying the airport staff were alerted to a passenger in medical distress. It says emergency response protocols were immediately activated, with on-site medical personnel arriving within minutes. The airport said during that time, an ambulance was also called to the scene. The release doesn't say if or what time the ambulance would have arrived. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz says he's seen this viral video from a passenger detailing the incident.
The nurse was saying if they can't get the ambulance, then they'll get the taxi. Mr. Miss, get the taxi. I'll pay the money for him. I'll pay the taxi. Get the taxi. Get the taxi.
We contacted the woman afterwards. She says they were alone with the man for quite some time and that blood was running from his nose.
The nurse had come, which was about, I would say 20 minutes and a half now after he fell. The nurse had come and she started to do whatever she needed to do.
Mr. Vaz has since requested a full report on the incident.
My report will be able to speak specifically to what happened because there are cameras there, CCTV cameras, and therefore everything should be to the second in relation from when the incident happened to when he was removed.
Mr. Vaz added that MBJ Airports has a contractual arrangement with Hospital in relation to medical services, which includes ambulances.
My understanding when I asked is that they have access to up to 7 ambulances, and the proximity from Hospital to Montego Bay Airport is not that far.
Romarda Lyons, TVJ News.
For the last 8 years, the Bruno Project has been finding foreign homes in the US, England and Canada for strays in St. Lucia. However, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's CDC's ban on disallowing dogs under the age of 6 to enter the U.S. poses a major threat to the efforts. Founder of the Bruno Project, Doris Jolica, remains undaunted in her quest to find homes for the animals.
There's definitely an impact, but I mean, we can only do so much. So when it comes to like if we're feeding strays or whatever, we'll feed the ones we can get to. You know, if we're gonna go and spay and neuter, we're gonna spay and neuter the ones we get to. You know, there's gonna be a lot more strays around now because of this new change in regulation. The demand in Canada for our dogs, like the people overseas love the St. Lucian mongrel. They love them. We used to have lineups of people wanting the dogs, and now since COVID hit, because COVID's changed everything in the world, and since COVID hit, there's an overpopulation in Canada and the US and likely the UK also.
Jolica is concerned that the stray population may increase as local pet owners refuse to seek and invest in their animals' well-being.
People don't feel it's worth spending the money to spay their dog when if they actually sat down and thought about it, it costs less to spay your dog than to take care of a litter properly. And then on top of that, how much stress are you under if you actually care about the animals? How much stress are you under when you're trying to find homes for these dogs? So you're spending like 8 weeks or whatever looking for homes for the puppies that your dog had, when it might be worth the $300 or $350 or $400 to actually pay a veterinarian to spay the dog.
The Bruno Project is seeking more hands on deck to help with its cause.
All we need is volunteers. If we had volunteers, we'd be able to get the volunteers to apply for the permits, to import the drugs. They'd be able to organize things more. But there's like maybe 12 of us. How does 12 people who are busy doing exports, finding local homes, we're busy feeding strays, how are we supposed to be able to go and organize something like a spay clinic at the same time?
Some worry that the stray population, if left unchecked, may have serious ramifications for the economy, particularly tourism, as visitors may not want to return after witnessing the animals suffer. They argue that the uncontrolled reproduction of stray animals can destroy local ecosystems, agriculture, and kill livestock. Gina Filippi, HDS News Force.
Internationally,
Venezuelan opposition leader Edmundo Gonzalez has vowed to continue his fight for democracy in exile after he fled Venezuela to seek asylum in Spain. Supporters maintain he and not President Nicolas Maduro won the disputed presidential election 6 weeks ago. The opposition says Gonzalez left the country because he feared for his life.
Venezuelan opposition leaders say this is the rightful president of their country. But he's arrived in Spain, where he's been granted political asylum.
My departure from Caracas was marked by episodes of pressure, coercion and threats, suggesting I wouldn't be allowed to leave. I trust that we will soon continue the fight for liberty and the return of democracy in Venezuela.
Edmundo González Urrutia faces arrest back home. After 11 years in power, Nicolas Maduro was declared president again after July's elections, but opposition leaders say the results were rigged.
What happened during today's polling was a violation of the rules. Our struggle continues, and we won't rest until the will of the people of Venezuela is respected.
Opposition supporters have been persecuted for that claim. Since the election, the government has detained thousands of protesters and driven opposition leaders into hiding. That includes Maria Corina Machado, who stepped aside to make way for González after she was banned from running for president. She has since emerged a few times to lead protests against Maduro and to demand a transparent vote count. Machado spoke out about González's departure on X, writing, "González's life was in danger, and the regime has no scruples or limits in its obsession to silence him and try to bend him. Faced with this brutal reality, it is necessary for our cause to preserve his freedom, his integrity, and his life." But Gonzalez's departure has worried Venezuelans.
I feel hopeless. What little hope we had went with him. I'm very distressed, but at the same time, I think he is safe where he is. We need to keep on fighting and have faith.
Machado, however, says Gonzalez will be sworn in exile in January and will fight from abroad, while Machado will remain to lead the cause in Venezuela.
DW's Oscar Schlenker is following the story for us from the Venezuelan capital, Caracas. Now, the Venezuelan government allowed Gonzalez free passage despite an arrest warrant out for him. What are we to make of that?
Well, it definitely puts into question Venezuela's judicial system and the validity of the charges against Edmundo González Urrutia. It also shows how politics dominate every decision made, in particular Maduro's administration, which has the support of all the institutions and the military here in Venezuela. Now, Edmundo González Urrutia stated today after arriving in Spain that trying to leave Venezuela was an ordeal met with coercion, pressures, and threats from the government. We also learned today that González Urrutia had been staying at the Dutch embassy here in Caracas since shortly after the elections about a month ago, until he decided, due to mounting persecution and the arrest warrant, to take Spain's offer of political asylum. So it's not clear what negotiations were made to allow González Urrutia's departure, but Maduro's administration is treating his exile as a political success.
Where does this exile leave the opposition in Venezuela now?
Well, the opposition is firm on their conviction that Edmundo González Urrutia won the elections, and those claims are supported by several factors, starting with the voting machine tallies that were uploaded to the internet, also the fact that Maduro's administration has not been able to provide any proof of electoral documents that can be verified to demonstrate his proclaimed victory, adding to statements by key international observers, including the United Nations, that questioned the electoral transparency of these elections. So the opposition will continue to fight for recognition of Edmundo González Urrutia's win. Maria Corina Machado said they will proclaim him president on January 10th, as the law demands, and they still have a strong international support, which could translate into more repression and persecution inside Venezuela as January approaches.
You said there's strong international support, but I wonder, how have Venezuelans reacted to Gonzalez's departure?
There are fears this new development will divide the opposition. Some people in Venezuela have expressed they feel abandoned and hopeless to change. It's also one of the challenges Maria Corina Machado now faces. With Maduro's strong grasp on power and the support of the military, the only thing holding the opposition together is an almost certain belief they won the elections and international support from democratic countries. However, in the past weeks, we have seen an increase in migrants leaving Venezuela as they see little hope for change and the worsening crisis that is looming.
Ukraine's surprise incursion into Russia's Kursk region last month boosted national morale. But in the past week, the Kremlin has retaliated with a series of devastating missile attacks. And the Ukrainian army also finds itself on the back foot in key parts of the battlefield at home. In the east of the country, troops are digging to hold on to the strategically important city of Pokrovsk. But the front line of fighting is now just 8 kilometres away, prompting thousands of civilians to flee. The BBC's Abdulaziz Abdurasulov has this exclusive report.
On the battlefield, speed is crucial. These Ukrainian soldiers have just received the coordinates of a possible Russian target. The same type of gun, American-made M101 howitzer, was used in World War II. 8 years on, Ukrainian gunners near Selidova, a small frontline town in eastern Ukraine, rely on it to push back Russian forces. And over the past few weeks, attacks on Dmitro's unit have been relentless.
The fighting is very intense. We fire up to 200 rounds a day. The enemy continues their attacks in small groups. sometimes up to 60 people. They're trying to break through our defense lines, so we provide cover to our infantry.
This is the city that Russian troops are trying to reach. Pokrovsk is a major transportation hub in eastern Ukraine, essential to get supplies of food, weapons and soldiers to the front line. But the fighting now is just 8 kilometers away. Pokrovsk is turning into another ghost town on the front line. Banks, shops and other businesses are closed. And the sound of explosions is getting louder and louder each day. And this city is already within the range of Russian artillery. About half of Pokrovsk's population has left since the war began. Those who still remain are being told to get out while they still can. 69-year-old Maria Goncharenko heeds that advice and signs up for evacuation. She takes just one bag and her 2 kittens. Volunteers help her to get to an assembly point and board the bus. Trains no longer run here.
We lived peacefully, worked until retirement, and look at what Russians did to us. I curse Putin.
Do you know where you're going to? I ask her. No, she replies. But the most important thing is to get out of this city. This tank unit has just returned from another mission to stop any attempts of a Russian breakthrough. Today, the soldier says, it was very loud. They load ammunition to prepare for tomorrow's shift. Another day of trying to hold their positions on a front line where so much is at stake. Abdujalil Abdurasulov, BBC News, Pokrovsk.
That was the WinFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, and Caribbean.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured. Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoy the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king. Please drink responsibly.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Get ready to relax in style with Hosford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley's Furniture Home Store. Easy living, easy saving sales event. For the entire month of September, we're bringing you unbeatable deals that will transform your home. Save 25% off on living room sets store-wide. For cozy couches to elegant sectionals, we have everything you need to create your dream living room. Shop with us and enjoy double cashback coupons for free groceries with all higher purchases. Every higher purchase enters you for a chance to win free groceries for a whole year. You can also win a stunning 4-piece living room set. That's right. Don't miss out on the Easy Living, Easy Saving sales event at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley's Furniture Home Store all month long. Hosford's, making your house a home.
It's 1:33 p.m. It's Monday, September 8th. We are well into the second half of today's presentation of Voices. My name is Socrates. Continuing after the discussion we had this morning, thanking our callers, our viewers, and those who participated in the earlier segment of today's program. We have some guests who currently are not sure, but we just open the lines and have a little chit chat. I want to thank Carl Brown for being with us once again. And we just find things to talk about. I was looking at an article a short while ago about some mothers. I think it was the Coalition of Mothers Against Violence. And they had a bit of a march, presentation / demonstration over the weekend. I think it's quite appropriate for persons who not only are directly involved, have been the families of victims of gun violence, but the wider society. And sometimes when we find women taking lead in these situations, it has a much greater impact. Fathers, of course, have the role to play, but I think globally, mothers, women, they get more sympathy, and people tend to more empathize with them in these cases. So I want to congratulate them on that effort. Sad that it had to take such incidents to galvanize them into action, or that particular course of action. So we have to look at that, commend them, support where we can. We are now in October, almost, so to speak. Well, it's actually September, but from October onwards, we ease into the carnival season, hoping that the calypsos for 2024/25 will reflect what's happening in our society and sort of point a way forward. There was an article about the music award, creative industry awarding various aspects of creatives in St. Kitts Nevis, and some people were not happy. We have a call. Okay, let's take a call. Go to caller, you're live on Voices. Go to caller, you're live on Voices.
Hi, the King.
Yes, Africa. Welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm I'm good. I'm giving thanks for life.
Okay.
I'm juggling on the YouTube, and at the same time I'm calling in on the same device
Okay.
because of the lack of the studios through the radio.
I'm happy to tell you that I've been reliably informed that they are almost completely addressing the issue of, communication. I'm told last week, based on a question, that they are almost completed the repairs needed to guarantee that wider reception that our customers, our viewers, our listeners really, really needs. So by this afternoon, by later today, I'm told by Jamster that may be in effect.
Yes, the king, because it is an enormous takeaway from the listening public.
Appreciate it.
And I had taken a little sabbatical, and I say, well, persons who would anticipate our contributions, they're not even really listening. They can't get to listen. So, I have to play catch up with some issues.
Yep.
Some things would have come to the fore. I have listened to the morning program, Island Tea, and I would have gleaned from here and there. The absence of Azad now at the morning Island Tea program it's a mess. I bid him farewell in his best endeavors, but it's a takeaway because Azad would have done his research,
Mm-hmm.
While there I wouldn't be there, but I could sense that he would have gone on his device and try to pull up more information as to give credence to the topic at hand, whatever might have been discussed.
Understood.
That said, the king, I listened to there's a chat by Spuddy. I am on it, and it's amongst our fraternity where we will discuss things that is pertinent to our endeavors, our upward mobility in terms of enhancing our product.
Yes.
And I listened to something I said on WinFM program too. I'm not the only lone voice, but I will always make my voice be heard. And it pertains to the refresher course that is coming up. And the
taxi refreshers course, taxi drivers refreshers course?
Yes.
That's the one the 2nd of next month?
Because it's the all season now, but they said it's all season, and we have some time, because lower end and the predicted weather, and that would affect airlines, that would affect cruise ships. We have had a cancellation the other day. We're expecting a ship tomorrow, so we look
fingers
forward
crossed.
to that. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the irony, as I said, about this freshers course, which we look forward to, is the duration of time. Why does tourism want to really treat us like children? Why? What I am going to gain being in a session from 8:30 to 4:30, which I would not gain in a morning session from 8:30 to 12, or from 1 to 3:30 or 4. Tourism has gone above and beyond the classroom, the ordinary classroom of the institution of learning. So why does tourism have to tell me, someone who have learned so much outside of a classroom, so much outside of the four walls of the space of an institution, I have learned so much, that tourism is going to tell me from 8:30 to 4:30. Not considering this is our slowest time, not considering that someone might have an engagement. I know what to do. Me personally know what to do. Because I can tell you something, I am 2-0 on tourism. I am 2-0. It's a sort of sporting bragging rights. When you have won 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And coming from one of the representatives of the taxi fraternities, it seems like he's just regurgitating what tourism is trying to do by telling us, oh, you guys, it's going to get an extra hour less. So it's from
an extra hour less?
Instead of 4:30, it's going to be from 8:30 to 3:30. An extra hour less?
What's an extra hour less?
An extra hour less?
Mm.
And as I speak now, the king, I'm the person, the volume of people who normally will listen and will give their sentiments towards the egregiousness of how tourism wants to treat us like children, it's not going to fly with me. They themselves need some of they themselves, staff, tourism, personnel, they themselves need some of the length of time, from 8:30 to 4:30, to train themselves. Because they are wanting also, big time. They are trying to retard us in our innovation. So they themselves, they need to be a part of it in a sense that they see themselves just like the ordinary taxi drivers that are going to be there and learn something.
Okay.
And so we hope you guys represent us well. I am a freelance, and I can speak for myself. And I would take it to the highest echelon in tourism to plead my cause and to win my case, not without the consent of my ancestors, those soldiers who have my back. They cannot be seen, but they're here, and they're real. So we're going to test to see where the energy and the spirit lies when it comes to defending a cause, a true and a just cause. It is egregious that tourism wants to keep us from 8:30 to 4:30. It is not right. It is indiscriminate.
Okay.
Infringing on our little time and space for us to make a penny on that day. Thanks for listening, King.
Thank you for your contribution. And if I may respond to that, lest I be accused of regurgitating tourism's response to this, and I may dare say I have been accused of sitting with the tourism people and other interesting parties and having lunch with them and, siding with tourism and bringing other people's interests to the taxi drivers, not representing them on their behalf. But Anthony Johnson, taxi operator, called me inquiring as to why do we have to sit from 8:30 to 4:30 in a retraining seminar when it's normally from about 8 to 12, or thereabouts, 4 hours roughly. So I said to him, I'll be going to a meeting the following day on behalf of taxi drivers, and I will ask that question. There were 2 other presidents with me, Mr. David Brandley and Mr. Leroy Matthew. We did ask the question, and the reaction was, but is it taxi drivers who asked for this? They asked for additional training and whatever. That to me was a surprise because I was unaware of it. But they made the point and they tried to explain that there'll be additional presenters, etc. After the long discussion, it was agreed that they would cut the lunch hour the lunch period from hour to half an hour to thereby shorten the length of the session, thereby trying to better accommodate the drivers. But they were adamant that whereas last year the programs extended for just about 4 hours, 4.5 hours, the taxi drivers were the ones who came requesting more presenters, which resulted in additional time. I couldn't speak to that, or not because I was totally unaware. What was discussed is that they would cut the luncheon period from a whole hour to half an hour to better accommodate. So it's now from 8:30 to 3:30, not from 8:30 to 4:30. So the extra hour, the guy says, will be taken off. That's the case, right? That is what I presented in the chat because I did express that in the chat. He had a few responses. But it was also pointed out that even though it's a 4-day training session, 4 or 5 days, you can choose a day most convenient to you. You don't have to attend every single day. You, the driver, choose the one day that's most convenient to you, etc. Some people decide they would go and just sign the name and then leave. I have no advice for anyone on that. Okay? But if the majority feel that it's too long, put it in writing, we can represent your interests. We were asked to encourage the drivers to attend, and it is something that benefits us. It's a refresher course that's mandatory over a 4-day period, and the dates are posted, so you can select what day is most convenient for you. And the question was asked, for one day, isn't it beneficial for the drivers to just attend? Right? Let me pause for this call. I'll get back to that if I can. Caller, you're live on Voices.
Socrates, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome back to the program.
Yes. No, the guest that you had on.
Yes.
Okay? I remember early in the talk, you said, we should stand for our principles and be willing to die for it. Did he say that?
He may have. I don't recall him saying that particular, but he may have.
Right. As a matter of fact, he even said that using Gandhi. He said that Gandhi said, even if you kill one of us and you come back, the answer going to still remain the same.
Yes.
Okay? Now, what I was doing, I was simply saying, hey, we need to know what is right and stand for what is right, irrespective if it means going against America, Europe, Canada, it doesn't matter. Because that is what he said earlier, and we need to be principled and stand for our principle, even if we have to die for it. And he used Gandhi as an example.
Yep, paraphrasing it, but you're correct.
Yeah. So to me, once I understood him correctly, he was contradicting himself. Because and not only that, how is it he's saying that, tell America that, you're welcome and Russia is welcome and welcome everybody. That's so good. But that is not always the practical situation. You think, like how America got kind of sanction on Russia, you could go and tell Russia, man, come in and trade with us and do that without anger in America? America going to turn against you.
Our reality is different to what he was projecting.
Yeah, the reality is different to what you projecting. And what I was simply saying is that once you understand what is right, you stand for what is right, even if it means that. You don't compromise what is right because you need America's visa, or European visa, or Canada visa, whoever else visa. You don't compromise what is right because you need access to their country.
Mm-hmm.
Principles supposed to come first, and like you say, you're supposed to stand on your principles and die for it. And
but I also stressed the example of Haiti.
Right.
And how they still punished today.
Right.
Sanctioned
he forgot what he said.
by the Americans, France, supported by the World Bank, etc., crippled the economy. Ostracized, marginalized, simply because they had the gall to stand up and fight for what they believe. Many died, but at least they were able to establish that first independent, free nation in the Caribbean, in the region, Western Hemisphere. Look at the example. Look at Cuba, etc.
Exactly.
So we would have to have a collective sense of purpose, right? But as Black Stalin sang some years ago, you must have a nuclear weapon if you want to stand up for your ism. If you don't have that, you're not on a level playing field.
Well, I don't think you have to have a nuclear weapon, but what nuclear weapon does, you put the brakes more on them bigger countries. But But what I'm saying is that you're supposed to stand up for your principles no matter what, whether you got a nuclear weapon, yes or not. But of course, a nuclear weapon deters them even more from coming to attack you. But
what he was saying, you don't show up with a ice pick well, in a gunfight.
Well, that is true. You don't be nice to a gunfight. But the thing is that if you're going to stand for your principles, sooner or later you're going to have to go against the bigger countries. Because if they blacklist country A and you want to be inclusive to everybody, you're going to go against Europe and America and that sort of who they got sanctions and who they blacklist and that sort of stuff. If you're going to tell those countries who they blacklist or sanctions, come in, we invite you as well. That's just the reality of the situation.
But you and Mr. McMahon represented a point of view that's more realistic than he was portraying.
Well, the best of us, we have our blind sides, eh? The best of us have our blind sides. No matter how much doctorate and so you have, the best of us have our blind sides, and the best of us just be inconsistent at times. But when it is pointed out, we need to correct them. But anyway, thank you, Socrates. God bless.
Once again, thank you for your contribution. Okay? So that is Gregory, and some people say sometimes I have him on too often he speaks, but at least he's a very committed caller to the program, and I do appreciate his contributions. Now, back to the point I was making in terms of the training session slated for the 2nd of October for all taxi operators. There's been some pushback against the duration of the time. It was stated that it was from 8:30 to 4:30. Pardon me. I went by Fulton a while ago and got me some so it's kind of fucking my throat. And so yes, people questioned, don't they think we have things to do? I mean, it's all day, etc., etc. So the two presidents and I questioned it. It was explained to us that it was by the request of taxi drivers that they wanted extra presenters. And so they have somewhat modified the time by taking off an hour. So you can choose a day from the 4 that are offered, from the 2nd to whatever other dates that you choose to go. You commit yourself for one day, as long as possible. Lunch is provided, and then that's it. If you choose not to go at all, you can write them and let them know, hey, I'm not coming because of XYZ. That's a call you have to make. But that's the situation as it stands. I don't feel that tourism is trying to treat us as children and dictate what they said. The extra time that's allotted is because taxi drivers requested. So if they're responding to requests by taxi drivers and it extends that way, well, that's all I'm going to say on that. I will be attending, and I hope others show up also. If it proves to be too long, at least you would have tried to see what you can learn from the retraining session. Chris Collins is jealous. He said I'm testing his faith. I'm broadcasting that went by Fulton's. Phone, behave yourself. Went by Fulton's. What kind of friend? What kind of friend I am? When I see all around the world and the Caribbean eating and carrying on, telling me who you hot, what can I do? But love you, my friend. Glad for your participation and your encouragement. I'm sorry you won't be here for this show coming up next Saturday. Well, this coming Saturday at the Royal St. Christopher. I'm told it's sold out. Jamster, I'm told it's sold out. Tickets were at 50 US. Then they went to 75. So if you want to take a lady, it's 140 US. No, 100, yeah. 150, 75 for a ticket. Americano. We may have those guys here on the weekend. I've spoken to them. We're talking about Crazy, Nelson, the Monarch King Short Shirt, and Poser, who's never been to St. Kitts. Crazy has never performed here, yes. No, he was here for a workshop with with Chartless some years ago. Nelson has been here. I actually was the promoter of that show. I brought him. We had the show over at the Anchorage. And the vision says you have to bring him to Nevis. So I took him to Nevis. I got a bus. Right? Duke, I actually gave Duke his last show here in St. Kitts. That was upstairs, what was then known as Bobsy's and all that. So I've rubbed shoulders with quite a few of them on different platforms. Bobsy's upstairs. Bobsy's going to forget me there. We had a show there. Duke. Shortly before he died. We used to have Calypso tents up there. Bobsy's in how many for a show? You down by the Wings place? On Figure Road. Upstairs there in the Sugars Complex. We've had Calypso tents there, and I hosted Duke there in his last show about maybe a year before he passed. You know. So Nelson has been here before. Crazy have been here. And Poser. I actually asked the promoter, how did Poser become a king? You know, and he explained whatever. But I first saw Poser about 30 years ago when he had Bus Conductor. That was his big hit. It was at the Velodrome in Trinidad. And around that time, you know, he was kicking off. So it would be good to be able to entertain them here for an interview on Friday. And I know you'll be happy to, you know, engage and get some music off them and make it a good thing. So, you know, all things are possible. But for those who have not seen them, especially for Nelson in his 90s, it would be a very good thing to go out and see his performance. It's about that. It may surprise you to know that Duke was one of his writers. His big hits were written by Duke. That disco song was, I don't know about disco song, but I know King Lie the Liar. Maybe because Duke was a great writer of what he called comic songs. Duke was the writer of the songs. Yep. And so we may have them here. So hopefully you can show up. I understand that tickets are now sold at around 200 EC. You know, it's sold out, but people have ways. I mean, I'm actually happy, you know, because as I was saying earlier, the creative industry were giving out awards for various, you know, but no Calypso was mentioned. They didn't mention anything about Calypso. The creative industry, creative arts of St. Kitts and Nevis, not one category was given to Calypso. That's why I said, hopefully, in the next 8 weeks or so, or less, we can get some Calypsos reflecting the current situation in or around the Federation. You know, we look forward to those songs to get an indication. Is it like a barometer of the country? Gotta get me some Island People Fight. Sorry about that. The lines are open if you want to call back. Engage in the conversation, 662-0989. And thank you for Mr. McMahon for that perspective. So yes, the ladies were out there on the demonstration, and I do support them. We have the issue with the creative industry. They were talking about certain aspects of the display were not recognized, and I'm thinking, well, I actually read through the whole thing, thinking, where does Calypso fall in this? Nothing at all. 662-0989. It's a beautiful day downtown Bastia. A bit overcast, a bit of a scattered shower, but of course another day, beautiful day in paradise. And we're going to pause now to give credit to our sponsors and be right back. Are you with me, Jamster? He seemed to be preoccupied. We pause for station break. Thanks.
Double the cash back. Double the groceries. Double the savings. Only at Hortford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Happening now, when you make a higher purchase, you'll get double cash back coupons for double the free groceries. Are you serious? Shop for the furniture and appliances you need, and we'll help you fill your fridge and kitchen too.
Nah, me.
But that's not all. You'll also have a chance to win free groceries for a year or a 4-piece living room set that will transform your space into a cozy haven.
Say what?
Don't miss out on double the rewards and double the savings. Visit Hortford's Furniture and Appliances or Ashley Furniture Home Store today and start your journey to a better home and a fuller kitchen. Terms and conditions apply. Visit any Hortford's location for details. Double the deals, double the delight, double the cash back, double the groceries, double the savings. Only at Hortford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Stores. Happening now.
Oh, welcome back once again. That thing by Fulton got me still kind of messed up, so my apologies. But we're here kicking it with Jamster. It's a Monday afternoon. It's the 8th, the 9th day of September. Tomorrow is the 10th, and we're gonna keep our fingers crossed because the last time the Icons of the Sea was supposed to dock, it was turned away due to tropical cyclone Ernesto. So a lot of taxi drivers, as a matter of fact, one particular businessman told me he lost about the equivalent of $15,000 because they based on the booking he had. Not only that, he had to refund. So it actually hurt him to see he had this booking with so many guests. And then because the ship canceled, he had to refund them for the tour they had pre-booked. So I said to him, isn't that an act of God? You don't refund for act of God? He said, no. On principle. Because of the nature of the business, I can go that route, but I want to build goodwill with them, so I get a full refund. So I know he's looking forward for that ship to dock tomorrow, as well as myself. And many other drivers, because we're in the off season, so to speak. We're cruising through September, the October, and then things start to gel in November. So when a ship the size of the Icons of the Sea cancel for whatever reason, the many persons who are hoping, looking forward to it, depending on it, it really hurts. And so tomorrow, the 10th, it's slated to dock. There's been no indication there'll be any cancellation. So business, commerce around town, those in the rural areas will benefit once the folks come off and tours are around the city again. We have the vendors down at the Black Rocks area, the vendors out there. I mean, it's really a beautiful place. You go to visit, you see all the vendors out there, at Black Rocks, doing the craft or the clothing, very polite. And then there's a bar down there that's really kicking, pushing the thing with the sting. I mean, by the time they get there, I'm telling you, they're very well entertained. They do enjoy the tours, etc. So when you find they're out there and they're supposed to berth and then there's cancellation, they too are affected. So we're looking forward for that tomorrow. That is why when you find on ship days, Jam say don't find me.
I'm glad you brought that up because I remember I went down there a few
to Black Rocks.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I remember what I was doing over there. Who was I over there with? And we went down there, and I wondered, there doesn't seem to be anything going on there on the regular. Is it something
in the off season? The faithful go down there because you find sometimes there are many tours who don't reach down there. Many tours don't, so the faithful open up irregardless. We have 2 ships monthly right? But then the guests at the hotels, we can plan as to how frequent they will take an island tour. But we know when the ships are in port, it's part of what happens. And they line up along the walkway. There are folks on the other side. I try to encourage guests to go over there and give them some business. And these ladies are mainly ladies. They're very, very polite, and you know what I mean, and they try to get the sales, etc. But it's one of the things that we become dependent on when the ships are in port, whether they buy the thing locally. And one of the things that I was thinking about last night, even down at Port Zante, where the Anima market is, where the local craft vendors is, that should not have been there. That should have been at the forefront. Yes, further down, so when the guests come out of the arrival hall, they see the local vendors, local craft, but they're pushed at the very back. And what's an irony, many of those established shops down there are still in local craft, so-called local craft, because you can go in the stores and buy the same thing that the local vendors are selling, which to me is wrong. You know, and I am hoping at some point the powers that be look at finding a space more to the forefront where the local vendors can benefit. Because, example, if you take a tour from Port Zante, you're leaving from the eastern end of the arrival hall, you go on your destination, and when you return, the guests get off there roughly by 8 around shoppers, etc., etc. And I'm not saying they're tired, but they're heading back to the ship. So unless they're walking around the port, come down the stairway to go to the street, they will see to the left, there's an Anima local craft market there. That should not have been done if you're looking at empowering your people. Give them a location more to the front. So when the guests come out, even a sign, I think there's a sign or two that speaks about the market, but it's when you come down the corridor. You know. We take a phone call. We just missed a phone call, but if there's another one, we'll be happy to take that. But these are some of the things that we overlook, we take for granted, or less is brought to your attention. You know, if we're allowed to have the guests disembark on the other side by the stoplight, and they can walk through there, then they can actually, but that's at the end of the tours.
Let me ask you a question. Is it a challenge to have Black Rocks maybe, well, I don't want to say open more?
Open more how?
Well, I mean, you have all the booths and so down there, right? And I imagine during the high season, they probably do okay.
They can do better than that, because a pretty penny was invested down there. There's a beautiful platform. It's really, really
is there a way to get local engagement in the entertainment down there? I mean, to get locals going there? Because, I mean, let's face it. I remember we went to dinner at Arthur's, and I was surprised, me and my wife and so, I was surprised to see it was pretty much all locals.
Okay.
So that proves to me that
there's a local market?
Yes. So I'm thinking, is there a way to get Black Rocks to the level where
you would have to go through tourism, because it's a tourism site. We'd have to go through them to get the permission, because they wouldn't want, we just missed the call again, they wouldn't want to have a jam session down there where you find the buildings are defaced. So one has to be careful with that. There's a very, very, let's take this call, but they call you live on Voices.
Yeah. Two things.
Yes, Mr. Bamwam.
With regards Black Rocks.
Yes.
Isn't it possible for the scenic railway to make even a half-hour stop there, where they get off of the train and go down and look at that scenery closer, as well as patronize the locals. And the same can also be said with the Eco Park, where you can have more local vendors there, and the stop is not actually where the siding is, where the trains turn around, but at the Eco Park itself. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
I think it's time that the Scenic Railway upgrade their tour and cooperate more with the local tourism association to make sure that more local people get a bite of that cherry. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, have you been to Curacao?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, Curacao has this seaside market where, well, I am not sure it is thriving now, but it used to be, because a lot of boats used to come over from Venezuela selling produce and so on, right smack in the center of the capital.
Okay.
Right? And it was really a sight to behold. And I'm thinking, as I said, about pushing the local vendors back. There are two things that can be, shall we say, we can kill two birds with one stone. One is, I don't know if you remember how Port Zante was constructed initially, where they had the what do you call them, bulwarks or
yes, the walkways,
the
yes.
stones, right? And ships could have moored up there. Smaller ships could have moored up there. That was before the hurricane.
The two hurricanes
and they had to do some
redesign,
rock reinforcement. Yeah. Okay, but it is still, looking at it now, it is very unwelcoming, very stark. You see all these stones coming. I mean, you come to port and you wake up and you look outside, and the first thing you see is a hell of a lot of stones out there. It doesn't look good. I understand the reasoning behind it, and I know that it's a classic. It's the usual way of reinforcing rock reinforcement is the usual way of dealing with those kinds of problems. But there are things you can do to make the thing look more appealing
aesthetic
and welcoming. And one of the things you can do is put badges. You don't want anything permanent because they'll still be vulnerable to storms. You want badges, large badges that you can tow into the marina, for instance, if there's weather coming. But put the local vendors on these badges and moor them outside, have moorings outside by the stones. So and have like sails and so on that hide the stones, or at least camouflage them a bit. Okay? And at the same time, those are the first things that a tourist see
and they approach
when they're coming off the ship, or even on the ship, you can see them, and put the local vendors there, right? And instead of doing you create a new market type atmosphere right at that port of entry, right? I think it would work. We should investigate it further, but I really
I'm thinking along with you. But I'm thinking about the walkway, that long walkway from the ship to the arrival hall. You could have the local vendors along there also. They'll get the sales when the folks are returning. You know.
Is there which long walkway?
From the second cruise pier.
Oh, from the second. Oh, yeah.
It's a very long walkway.
That's true.
But if you can get your vendors along there.
Yeah.
It creates a market. Even if they come from the first pier, they can actually go down there because they're right to the front.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good idea as well. As a matter of fact, I think I remember when you were building the second cruise pier, I was thinking that they would have, instead, they had to do some dredging. I was thinking that they would have created a mini Port Zante outside the market there. Just like how you reclaim some land using the sand. Remember when you dredge the sand and put it inside?
Okay.
Right? They could have done a similar thing in front of the market, right? And take some of the pressure off of Port Zante in the center of town.
Okay.
Right? But yes, I see what you mean about that stretch.
That walkway from their second pier all the way up, put your vendors along there.
The only thing is, right, I would hope it would be designed properly. We have this bad habit when we have local vendors. We
knock up something?
knock up something. Yeah, exactly. Right? Knock up something that people sell. Right? And that would not be enhancing.
That would really decorate that long walkway. Really decorate it.
Yeah.
Then they'll be down
there
that
are
end.
possibilities for that, I am sure.
Yes.
That's a good idea, doing that.
But the black walk thing with the scenic railway will be a little more challenging because of the distance where the tracks are down there, and the timing, because the time the tours.
No, I mean
but
the tracks come almost to the main road.
Yeah. But the Eco Park will be more practical. I think the Eco Park will be more practical. Is where you stop?
More practical, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember taking the scenic railway when it used to go right around, and one of the most interesting parts of it was when it was passing right next to Brimstone Hill, and you're actually seeing the shells in the limestone at Brimstone Hill, because there's a suggestion that it was actually underwater and it was pushed up.
There are two stories about that, but I'll go with you.
Yeah, I used to. I thought that was interesting. So I think the scenic. Yeah, I understand that it was really long trip then.
And the railmen and ships were in port where the people them, so they had to shorten it.
Yeah.
So that stop at Black Walks would impact on the duration of the tour.
But that's why I was suggesting even just half an hour, because honestly, yes, I've done it several times, but after a while it gets boring. You're sitting there and you're just gliding along, and I think a stop, a break, half an hour break
would be appropriate.
Do much harm. Half an hour break there, and while because the coastal buses go up to that siding, right?
Yes.
Right. Instead of that, they go up to the Eco Park and wait there for the train. Okay, and in the meantime, look around.
A more aesthetic reception, and the layout is just beautiful inside there. So I think that would be a great idea for them to try to adopt that.
Yeah, upgrade the thing. I think that's what's lacking in our tourism product quite a bit. Yes, there's the standard Brimstone Hill, what you call it?
Black Walks,
etc.
But here's what
you need. Remember, cruising now is kind of common, eh? So there are lots of repeat visitors as well. And you don't want them to say, been there, done that, so they stay on the ship and don't.
I have a couple of other tours, brand new tours, that I just almost told you, but I should not, because there are other competitors out there who will gladly adopt it. But I spent the better half of yesterday working on a new venture. A new venture that would be quite different. So for the upcoming season.
You mean that's your personal stuff?
To some extent, I have to build it first. But tourism is aware of it. The minister is aware of it. Right?
Okay.
But I don't want to go into too much detail. But it takes us away from the normal thing.
Yeah. We need to be able to say that there's something new this year in this. Just like, for instance, you go to Disney World, there's always some new attraction somewhere. They don't just stay one place, right? So you can't say, well, I went to Disney World in 2005 and then went back in 2010. And it was the same thing.
Same thing now. We haven't.
Yeah, the same thing we need to do with our
I'm in the process of creating a new destination, so to speak. Very attractive and very, well, it's going to be good.
That's good. I hope the other taxi drivers are doing the same thing.
Well, we encourage to create new tours and bring to tourism. They're trying to create a platform for us to market directly to the ships. So that's a good thing, it's a positive thing. But we may have
marketing?
To the ship, yes. They're giving us that opportunity.
The association or individuals? How
both. What they've done, they've invited everybody who wants to take part. And we have a deadline. This is tourism. We have a deadline of September 20th to make a presentation to them. They will assist you where they can. And once you've got it properly, then you have an interview, a one-on-one with the ship's people, so to speak. So I don't have to travel over there to meet them in Florida.
You have to travel to...
You have the option now of meeting them here on St. Kitts.
Oh, they're coming?
Yes, so they'll arrange a meeting for you. Once you make your presentation tourism, they will guide you, tell you what you need this, you need to get that, etc. And once it's up to scratch, then they link you directly on a one-on-one interview with the ship's people, so to speak.
Okay, that sounds good. You know what would be a good marketing tool too? You know, well, I'm sure you've been on a cruise, and you know how they have these, well, they normally have, apart from the flyers that they normally leave in your cabins and so on, they have these shows and so on the ships.
Yep.
And they talk about the destination and talk about what's happening tomorrow and so on. I don't think anybody could sell us like us. Maybe it might be a good idea to have some representative go on the previous port of entry, right, and sell tours
the next day
on the ship if they can come to some agreement with the ships, right? Actually sell tours before. On the day before on the ship.
You'll be now competing with the ship's business because they're selling tours. They're in the business of selling tours themselves for a percentage.
Well, that's fine, but so no. Hold on. If all you're trying to do is maximize the how they put it, the spend, right? So apart from they're selling tours. You're selling a different tour to them. So what? Right? There are so many people on the ships. You don't think there's enough to go around?
Of course.
And even if they do it, even if they allow that at a commission, what you want to do is to get as many people off the ships, get as many tours as possible to maximize the spend. And I mean, everybody wins. As far as I can see in that, everybody wins, even if they get commission. They shouldn't regard it as competition. If they get some kind of commission.
In the interest of time, I know a chap who used to travel on the ships. He spent his own money. He's on a regular tour. But prior to the next destination, he would sell tours. He would come to St. Kitts,
that's exactly right.
bring off, go to Antigua, do the same thing, etc. And they couldn't stop him because, So it would mean one of us traveling on the ships and doing that.
Right. And there's no reason why that can't be done.
He made his money.
Official capacity. I mean,
there you go.
The tourism organization approach the ships with this and sell the idea. It's not. I don't think it is competition if they're going to be given a commission for that. You're just making sure that the tourists that do come, because sometimes you get the occasional thing that they are lots of tourists, but they ain't spending. They're holding on to the money.
Correct.
Kind of thing, right? And I think you can counter that with advertisement and marketing, and I think that would work well. I know certain ships. I think is the British. Some ships have this reputation of the people them don't spend. And
they call them poorest. They call them poorest. But a lot of folks travel on credits. And when we are the last destination on the cruise, they're all spent out by the time they get here. But I want to tell you, right, that the current CEO is very proactive. And ideas like these, she would very easily welcome on board. So maybe I can arrange a one-on-one for both of you. I can have a little chat with her.
Sure. I mean, I'm open to talk with anybody. But I think we got to get out of the mindset of we have a product and you take it or leave it. We have to always try to improve it and always try to maximize the what we get from the tourists. That should be the mindset.
Last thing, the 3 taxi entities are about to operate under one umbrella. That's been the cry for a long, long time. Why are you doing, get away from the competition? So the 3 entities, St. Kitts Taxi Association, like Mega Taxi Association and the Singers Cooperative Society will be operating under one umbrella.
You managed to do that?
Ah, Lord. It's not been easy, but we're getting there.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Thank you for that. Right?
That's a feat. Yeah.
Yes, but that's where we stand, and thank you so very much for that. We're going to take one quick session break before we come back and wrap up, but thank you again. Right? Station ID? Yeah. Sorry, you didn't hear me.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
This is your boy, Super Handy Andy. And your girl, Sacha the Artist. With your Super Handy Andy hurricane deals at Hospice Billing Center. For the month of September. Heavy duty green polytap was $59.49. Now for $44.62. Dual cell AA rechargeable batteries was $123.10. Get it now for $92.33. Power Zone work light was $96.96. Now $72.72. Display LED glow stick light was $7.56. It's now $6.63. 1 gallon plastic roof cement was $105.56. It's now $79.17. 1 1/4 gallon gas can was $84.53. It's now $63.39. Super Handy Andy with Sacha the Artist with your hurricane deals at Hospice Billing Center for the month of September, making home improvement easy.
Yes, I'm ready. We got about 3 minutes before we close shop today, and I want to thank those who were part of this discussion so far. The last caller touched on a number of issues related to tourism with some very good idea. As a matter of fact, Jamstar opened the door as it related to the Black Rocks. Now, it's a tourism destination, so the general public just can't go down there and set up like functions. You'd have to go to them, get permission. Of course, the police have to be involved in granting permits for entertainment, but it's the platform down there, it's ideal for entertainment, for shows, etc., etc. I know it's really built for viewing purposes. And when we go to fetch, we're going to trample the grass. We're going to trample the grass. But it's an ideal location for functions that would help, because there has to be a cost for it, would help with the maintenance of that particular location. There used to be a panist, or a guy playing pan music down there during the busy times. You had the coconut vendor down there. It used to be quite a place, but over the many years, it has been seeing less traffic. I must commend the many taxi drivers and other operators who go there as often as they can, not only to support the vendors, but to help market the country as a whole, because it's one of the most historic sites. And the platform that they build gives you a very beautiful advantageous point. From there, on a clear day, you can see as far as St. Martin, easily seen Anguilla, etc., etc. So it's one of the points that can take some more attention. But we are 1:29, and it's time to wrap things up. Hopefully, God's willing, on Wednesday, I'll be back. I have some guests who should have been here today. I think they'll be here on Wednesday. And then on Friday, we may have the artists that will be performing at the Royal St. Christopher on the following night in the Kings Among Kings Calypso Showdown. You have a local cast of Conways, the Invincible, the King Astro, on myself from the local ticket. And for those who've never seen Lord Nelson before, come out. Crazy gonna tear the place apart. The Monarch King Short, it will be as iconic as ever. We're gonna have a wonderful time. So next Friday, this Friday coming, we should have them in. But this time we want to close down the shop today, and thank you, our viewers and listeners. Hopefully we will meet again on Wednesday. God bless. Take care.
different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
If you live in low-lying areas, be aware of the possibility of tsunamis immediately after an earthquake. A strong earthquake lasting 20 seconds or more is a natural tsunami warning. Do not wait for an official warning. Gather your family members and evacuate immediately after the shaking stops. Don't delay. A tsunami could occur within minutes.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with Win FM.
The future is unknown. Protect your life, your family, and your valuables from unforeseen circumstances. Let National Caribbean Insurance give you the peace of mind that you so deserve. At NCI, we offer a suite of affordable insurance plans that can be tailored to ease your financial burden. We aim to deliver exceptional products to satisfy all your insurance needs. Whether life, health, motor, or property insurance, NCI has the right solution for you. Our friendly and knowledgeable sales professionals are ready and able to assist you. Let National Caribbean Insurance Company Limited help you to prepare for the unexpected. We serve, we protect, we satisfy. That's NCI.